I've been playing Rainbow Six Siege for a very long time, for 6 years and almost 1700 hours. I've got the chance to grow alongside this game. I've always been drawn to first person shooters, and when my cousin first introduced me to it, I fell in love with the complexities and nuances it had to offer. The gunplay was more strategic, and the overall finesse and decision making you had to make each round was so engaging to me. But outside of the gameplay, I adored the ideation of Team Rainbow. I loved the characters and their own stories. I loved where all of them fit into the big scheme of things, and I loved how painstakingly reflective it was of real life. Rainbow Six Siege isn't a super duper realistic game by any means, but the story it tells and the requiem it calls for is beautiful to me. Through a competitive tactical shooter, Rainbow Six Siege is a love letter to global inclusivity, celebrating race, gender, and nationality, and the unification of it all. Despite embracing diversity, Siege does face challenges of authentic representation in commercial and mainstream media through community feedback and poor reception. Tom Clancy was a best-selling author that was renowned for his realistic storytelling of military operations and counterterrorism. He was openly Republican and had a clear stance on conservatism. His 1998 novel, Rainbow Six, focuses on an elite multinational counterterrorism unit called Rainbow. Sounds a bit familiar. Eventually, in 2015, Ubisoft releases tactical shooter Rainbow Six Siege. Unlike other massive first-person shooters that follow Western and American storylines, Siege follows a fictional task force that is comprised of hand-picked operators from around the world. British SAS, American FBI SWAT, French GIGN, Japanese SAT, and several other countries. Rainbow's goal is to eliminate global terrorist threats that threaten civilians and world stability. And to do so, they would need the point of views from all backgrounds that reach all corners of the world, much like a rainbow. Siege is notable for its portrayal of racial, ethnic, and national diversity. For example, Thunderbird is a talented aviation expert and medic of the Nakota territories who values her native heritage. Malusi is an adaptable soldier who resigned to protect wildlife from poachers in her home of South Africa. Vigil is a North Korean defector who lost everything to get to where he is now. And Blackbeard is your classic American guy that worked hard to be a Navy SEAL. And I think we can all imagine what kind of guy this is. All of these operators come from different walks of life, from several countries, and although their motivations and talents differ from one another, this is what makes them so strong. Their realistic depictions and backstories do an amazing job of portraying them as characters of their respective origins that feel authentic. Their backstories, which often contain identity politics, all play a role in their upbringing and eventual introduction into Team Rainbow. Siege also does an amazing job of normalizing women in combat roles without over-sexualizing them or creating exceptions for their role on Rainbow. Their character designs and outfits are also indicative of their combat roles and backstories that don't over-sexualize them. For example, Azami's traditional Japanese clothing symbolizes her blend of traditional Japanese values. Zophia's combat and dress uniform symbolizes her high rank in the military. In addition to normalizing the inclusion of women, Siege has also introduced LGBTQ and queer characters. Flores was the first openly gay man. Osa is a Croatian trans woman. Tubarão is a Portuguese trans man. Sens is a non-binary person from Belgium. And they all look normal and unstereotyped. These characters' queer lifestyles are lifestyles that they live by through actions, behaviors, clothes, and other personal characteristics. According to Judith Butler in her 1990 book Gender Trouble, gender is not as simple as something you are by nature, but it is something that you do. These queer characters and their designs were thoughtfully designed and crafted by Ubisoft with the help of LGBTQ developers and consultants to make their presence and representation respectful and genuine. Within such a hyper-masculine environment in-universe and in the real world, in the form of the community, Siege's diverse cast of queer characters challenges traditional expectations of fictional tactical environments. Beyond race, nationality, and gender identities, critical race theory recognizes the complex identities that go into the backstories of these operators and the intersectionality of it all. For example, Amaru isn't just a Peruvian archaeologist. She is a woman with familial ties to 20th century colonialism and is caught between her family's past of discovery and exploration and her own values of cultural preservation. With amazing representation of diversity, there are some issues following Ubisoft's efforts. You can only fit in so many different nationalities, but there are still several regions of the world that are underrepresented. Regions like the Middle East, Africa, and South and Southeast Asia. Additionally, Siege didn't start getting diverse until a series of updates. Siege's vanilla or base operators upon release were hardly diverse at all. Castle was the only non-white operator at release in a lineup of 20 characters. Another issue is surface level acknowledgement of background. Some backstories nod to culture and reality but avoid political specificity. For example, Ash is half Israeli and half Palestinian, and she served in the IDF. This is mentioned in her lore, but it's left at that. This isn't expanded on at all and remains a small, sort of fun fact for her. Another example is with Thorn. Thorn is Irish, and she's close friends with Scottish Sledge, who happens to be best buddies with English Thatcher. Thatcher is a old school kind of soul that carries the namesake of the late Margaret Thatcher that even paints the Union Jack onto his gadget. I can't imagine Thorn and Thatcher ever getting along. Rainbow Six Siege mentions these political, social, and ethnic conflicts, but doesn't address them at all. It gives operators no chance in reclaiming their troubled backstories in the real world. It comes off as just a passive voice, basically bringing the issue up without getting their hands dirty at all. To further emphasize my point in Siege's role of the passive voice, lore and background on operators are not brought up in the game at all, and are only accessible through in-game menus or animations. Despite these criticisms on the game's lack of equal diversity and lack of active voice, Siege's portrayal of people from across the world is incredibly refreshing. It marks a major step forward in inclusive gaming, showing that authentic representations of race, gender, and nationality is possible in good taste, especially in hypermasculine communities that offer little to no positive feedback in the competitive gaming sphere. Just like real life, not every operator is going to get along with each other, whether it's a social, political, or ethnic disagreement. But all the operators remain on Rainbow to protect what they believe in. But some do get along, even those who seem most unlikely to do so. Our American guy, Blackbeard, is close friends with Tubarão, who's trans. He says, every man's different. Tubbs is trans, so we have to fight twice as hard for his spot. You can't break him. You just have to let him do his thing. Rainbow Six Siege, and specifically Team Rainbow as a franchise, is a love letter. It wasn't always at first, but over the years that I grew up with it, that is what I have grown to love it for. It's idealistic, yet bound to reality. Rainbow Six Siege imagines a world where cooperation regardless of race, gender, and nation is not only possible, but it's necessary. Our differences only make us stronger.